What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Mandalorian now, season 2.9 for all my Kingdom Hearts fans out there. Episode 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. So this one, yeah, it's more Mandalorian stuff. Apparently Boba Fett just doesn't even matter. And I'm really frustrated by it. Because I'm thinking back, and I remember I was complaining about all those flashbacks and how it's taking up half of the show. Honestly, I would have preferred if they did the flashbacks over this. Because this isn't even Boba Fett's show anymore. It's now the Mandalorian show. We spent more time over the past two episodes with Mando and Grogu than we have with Boba Fett. We've hardly seen him. We didn't see him at all in the last episode, and now we saw him for one scene in this one. This isn't the Book of Boba Fett anymore. This is the Mandalorian. It's just the in-between for him, in between two seasons. It's ridiculous. I honestly, it's frustrating because you promised us one thing, and you're giving us something else. Like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Was it also Wanda's story to wrap up her story from WandaVision? Yes, it was. Doctor Strange was still the focus. He was still the main character. It also wrapped up her story too, though, and that's the difference. If they had made it all about Wanda, and we spent a ton of time with her, and Doctor Strange was just off doing his own thing, and then popped up at the end to save the day, if that was the whole movie, it would have sucked. But the fact of the matter is, they gave us Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but then also helped us out and gave us a little bit of Scarlet Witch in there as well. That's so much better than, hey, let's see, so we're going to give you the Book of Boba Fett, but psych, it's actually more Mandalorian. It's not that interesting when you do, well, I shouldn't say it's not that interesting. It's almost a little cheap. It's almost like you're cheating in a way. You're bringing the Boba Fett characters and their fans in. You're bringing the people who love the Boba Fett character in, and then just giving them more Mandalorian to get them hyped up for season 3. And I feel like that's wrong. Because honestly, coming from the point of view of somebody who wasn't the biggest fan of Boba Fett before this, I was coming into the show hoping to have my mind change. Because, again, I didn't really care much about his character. I thought he was overhyped. I know a lot of that came from stuff that I haven't actually read before. But the thing is, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is the chance for this show to change my mind about Boba Fett and give me a character that I can get excited about. But they haven't done that. Instead, they've just given me more reasons why I like Mando as a character. That's not why I came here. So, yeah, I feel like they just did a disservice to Boba Fett as a character. And honestly, it kind of feels like they almost wrote this show with the intention of trying to show how, I guess, overhyped Boba Fett is as a character, because it feels like they didn't even want to write about him. They wanted to go back to Mando. And it's stupid. It's really stupid. But going into what actually happened in this episode, first of all, the stuff with Cobb Vanth, I'm fine with it. You know, I don't mind seeing Timothy Olyphant getting to be Raylan Givens in Star Wars again, because that's just fun for me. I love Justified as a series, so getting to see him play the same character is a lot of fun. On top of that, throwing Cad Bane into the mix, that's a lot of fun too. Getting to see him live action, but still has the same voice. I love that. It's great to hear Corey Burton bring that character to life in real life as well. Now, I looked it up, and the stunt actor is not actually Corey Burton, which is fine. And the makeup on him outside of the mouth, I thought was really good. The mouth to me just looked a little weird. It looked like he was struggling to keep in the fake teeth sometimes. But everything else about his design, it was perfect. I'm a little surprised to see him considering how long it's been. Because, he was around during the Clone War times. So, granted, we don't know how he ages. He may age slower than humans do, but that's still a long chunk of time for him to be alive and still be kicking. But yeah, when he showed up, it was really cool. And just seeing the silhouette from a distance, I knew. I'm like, oh, they're going to give us some live action Cad Bane, aren't they? Yes. Granted, does this mean the end of Cobb Vanth? I'm not sure. He did get shot once in the shoulder, so not necessarily a fatal wound. Although his deputy, his deputy got really effed up. Cad Bane was just pop, pop, pop. He's definitely dead. But I do hope we get to see more Cobb, because, again, Raylan Givens. Come on. He's awesome. The stuff with Grogu and Luke, I'll try not to rant too much about it because I feel like I already got a lot of my rant out in The Mandalorian. But yeah, still trying to use this CGI, deep fake technology and using a synthesized voice. It's wrong. I'm sorry, it's wrong. I actually looked up an article because I'm like, is anybody complaining about this? And I saw one that was talking about the scary parts of it. Some of the comments on it, oh yeah, I mean, look at this. The art is evolving and we're going to complain about it? Really? I mean, this is what art does. Here's the thing, it's not about art evolving. This is not art becoming something different, pushing the boundaries. That's not what this is. This is, we want to make a quick buck. We don't want to have to pay somebody to pretend to be Luke Skywalker. We're going to pay these actors probably cheaper because they're essentially stand-ins. We're going to pay this one guy to use AI technology to create this face. And then I don't even know if they paid anybody to synthesize the voice. They just have this program that can do it. So it's a way for them to save money. A real way for AI technology to be used to push the boundaries is in a case where you put yourself into the story somehow. I don't know how they would do it, but that's the only way I can think of AI technology or any sort of technology being used in that way would be you put yourself in there. You can synthesize your own voice into the story. You can synthesize your face into the story. That would be pushing the boundary because now you're actually becoming that character in the game. And that's for a game. For a movie, I don't even think that would make sense to do that. This, though, it's very easy to just pay somebody who either looks like Luke or, again, you can create that digitally de-aged face. You can create that. To synthesize it's easy and it's cheap. And again, the voice, how many voice actors are there out there that are good at replicating voices, imitating voices? I mean, so many can do it. And instead, you're going to put it through the synthesized machine, and honestly, you can tell. Maybe the average moviegoer can't. Maybe some people are just too stupid and they can't hear. I'm sorry, I'm listening to it, I'm like, God, he sounds like a robot. Well done, Grogu. Good job. Keep it up. I can't wait. It's so bad. And honestly, I mean, it actually looks like real skin in some of the scenes here, but there are still a lot of scenes where you can tell how bad just the effect is. Especially when he talks. Honestly, I think they were pretty smart in that sense because whenever a lot of his, I would say 70% of his lines were when his face was not on camera. That was very smart of them because whenever they did show it, it looked scary. It looked fake as hell. So I could go on and on about how stupid and lazy it is and how it's not, again, people can say, oh, no. They're just using it to evolve the craft, to evolve the, now we can bring these actors back to, but that, I guess in that sense, they're not even bringing Mark Hamill back anymore. They tried that in The Mandalorian, apparently. They didn't even do it here. They didn't even bring him back for this one. They just AI replicated his face, deep fake. Did he get paid for any of this? Probably not. So it's not even paying homage to the actor anymore. It's just, hey, we're going to steal your performance and use it in this world because we don't want to pay somebody else to do it. How is that evolving the craft? That's evolving how to make money easily for these companies. And people seem to be falling for it. So, yeah, I'm especially coming from somebody who is in the film industry and has been a part of it for a while. The ramifications are terrifying. And the fact that more people aren't speaking up and saying something about it is also terrifying because it means that people are, again, too stupid to realize this could be bad for people that want to work, for people that deserve to work. We're just going to instead say, no. We're not going to pay people to do this. Instead, we're going to pay cheaper people to do this because it's easier. So, moving on from that, though, I mean, the story with Grogu is just, it is what it is. You know, it's back to the same old thing with the Jedi where, oh, you have to forego all attachments and then you can become a Jedi. And it's funny because they actually have tested that a little bit more in some of the more recent stuff. You know, I think Ezra from Rebels, he kind of towed that line a bit more, and it kind of felt like maybe we were moving away from that idea of foregoing all attachments and basically becoming a loner just to be a Jedi. You know, is that really worth it then? I can't remember if they talked about it much. Actually, I don't think it was touched on at all in the Bad Batch because they didn't have any Jedi in there, did they? But I mean, it felt like we were going away from that, and now all of a sudden here it is back in the story again. And granted, I believe this might be leading towards what happens in The Force Awakens, and all of that with Ben Solo. That could be where this is heading, is trying to show where Luke is still in the mindset of, yeah, the ways of the Jedi, I have to keep true to all of that, and it's going to lead to what happens later. But I don't know, to see that presented at the end of this episode, and even, you know, earlier on when he's talking to Ahsoka, it just feels like we're going back in time again. And I feel like we were kind of moving away from that and trying to show, hey, maybe the way of the Jedi isn't all it's cooked up to be. The stuff with, I mean, everything to do with Boba Fett, I said it again, Boba Fett, sorry. Everything to do with him, I mean, it took baby steps forward in this one. Like I said, Mando is now working for him. They've got the one Wookiee working for him as well. And then the Pike traders apparently blow up that one bar. Why? I don't know. Maybe to make a statement. Maybe to force their hand. I don't know. It just feels like that happened at the end of this to be like, oh, guys, get excited for the finale because, ooh, big explosion, ooh. And I feel no attachment to this at all. I mean, outside of the fact that was the main woman that owned that place, she was Zoe from Lie to Me, Cal's ex-wife. That was the only attachment I felt to that place at all. I'm just like, oh, hey, it's her. She was kind of a bitch in that show. I wonder what's going to happen to her. Oh, she died? It's kind of funny. That's about it. That's the only attachment I had there. So I'm not really looking forward to this finale, but I am kind of looking forward to being done with this show. So we're going on to it. See you there in a sec. And now, Chapter 7, In the Name of Honor. I mean, yeah, I guess that's how it could end. The problem with this show is that it feels like there was no real arc in it. You know, there wasn't a one true story from beginning to end. It was like bits and flashes here and there for Boba Fett, and then all of a sudden we have bits and flashes for Mando and Grogu, and then we just all kind of come back in the end, and it's like, okay, well now, here we go. This was so... Is it incohesive? Is that the right word? I mean, so awful. And it's cohesion and its storytelling and the way you tell a story. This isn't how you do it. You don't take 2 episodes off and then suddenly come back and go, all right, Book of Boba Fett, here we go. Boba versus Cad Bane. Isn't this what you wanted to see? Yeah, and a better show. And that's what's really sad about it, is that would have been awesome. See Boba Fett go up against Cad Bane. I would have loved to have seen that if it weren't in this show. Because as it is, Cad Bane showed up at the end of last episode, and then all of a sudden we're building it up as a big ultimate climax here. Cool. I barely saw them interact, and now he's killing Cad Bane. Awesome. Exactly how I wanted to see one of the coolest characters introduced in Star Wars, Cad Bane. That's how I wanted to see him go out. In a show where he showed up for, 10 minutes on the whole? Love that. It's just, it's dumb. Grogu, he has a choice at the end of the last episode. Either choose between being trained as a Jedi or going with your friends. Well, he goes with his friends and then suddenly he's able to tame a Rancor. How? Because he can. The Rancor, I mean, we saw Boba get it. He doesn't use it, and then all of a sudden he's like, alright, time to use it. And then all of a sudden it just goes on a rampage, and suddenly now that's got to be the end. How this all comes to, we got to stop the Rancor from rampaging, guys. Why? Why is this suddenly a big part of the story? Why is this the climax now? It's trying to tame the Rancor, trying to stop its rampage. Why? Oh God. Also, if I ever see Pelimato, I think that's her name. If I ever see her again, or whatever the mayor's, whatever his name was, I never want to see him again. Like, those two, just, the only funny moment between the two of them in this episode, both of them, is the moment where Boba sends the mayor's assistant guy out with the demands of nothing as a clear distraction. And basically, it was only funny because I knew exactly what was going on. And it was funny to me because seeing this guy like, oh, hey, I did it. I talked him into surrendering. Cool. I did my job. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go out here. Oh, I'm so confident and cocky. Let me tell you his demand. Oh, no. Just all of that build-up. I knew where it was headed. I didn't care. It was funny to me to see this guy act all confident and then just basically eat it in the end. But that was the only funny scene between him and her. Because for her, I mean, nothing funny. Absolutely nothing. Scene between her and R2 could have been funny. It wasn't. It was basically the same old same. Oh, quit rushing me! Stop rushing me! Let me greet my little friend here. Oh, how are you doing? Like, that's basically it, and I've seen that done before, so it's not funny. The only funny thing involved with Grogu in this is seeing him pop up out of the X-wing like he was flying it the whole time. That was hilarious. But then they have to ruin it by having her go, oh, did they already teach you how to fly? I know the astromech fluid. I'm not stupid. Okay, cool. So you ruined that joke because it was funnier whenever you just didn't mention it at all. Just have Grogu pop up. That could have been the end of the scene. I would have found it hilarious. But no, we have to talk more. We have to explain why that's funny. Even though we know that the astromech is the one flying. We're not stupid. And yet you feel like you have to explain to your audience as if they are stupid. It really frustrates me. The writing in this episode was so bad. Because it felt like, again, this was what they were all building to. The way they were writing it, it felt like this was the epic climactic conclusion for this series. And it's not. It just came out of nowhere. A lot of this stuff. Yeah, there was some build-up with the Pike Spice Company or whatever. There was some build-up with Cad Bane. Minimal. There was some build-up with this group of young rebels that Boba Fett helped out. And the people of Freetown. There was some tiny build. It wasn't enough to justify this. Oh, and now the people of Freetown have showed up. Yeah! And now all of a sudden here comes the Wookiee. Yeah! And now here comes this. Yeah! It just, none of it felt really important at all. Because again, the lack of building up to this moment, it just killed a lot of this for me. Even the battle with the big droids, that first of all went on way too long, but then the Rancor shows up, takes out the first one, you're like, okay, so now he can go take out the second one. And all of a sudden that's turned into like this dramatic battle where he knocks into a building and it's like, oh, is it dead? It pops up. It's like, oh no, is he gonna beat it? Well, he already beat one, so yeah. Why is this a thing? Why are we sitting here going, everybody's like, oh, is he gonna beat it, guys? Is he gonna beat the second droid that he's facing? Oh, why? It was just stupid. And then they have this whole little thing that we didn't get any sense of whatsoever, where you've got the people of Freetown show up, and then all of a sudden they're clashing with the young rebels that Boba Fett picked up. Like, oh, what are the desert people here? Oh my goodness, I didn't expect to see the city folk fighting. Where did this come from? We haven't talked about this at all, at least as far as I know. And all of a sudden they're sitting there butting heads in the middle of a battle where they're trying to fight together to who cares where you're from at that point? Just shoot the bad guys. But then, no, we have to have that moment so that way later on, whenever, whatever her name was, the one young rebel is like, all right, I'm going to snipe him up from the top. And then the one girl from Freetown's like, oh, with that little thing? No, no, we gotta give her a real gun. Yeah, now let's fight together. Why is this a thing? Can we spend more time on better stuff, please? No? Okay, sure. We can't spend more time on Fennec seeing how she infiltrated the Pike's base or whatever to kill them all? That was just sort of thrown in there at the end, almost as an afterthought. It almost felt like, you know what? We didn't have Fennec at all in this battle, did we? We just forgot about her. We also forgot about those other guys that turned against Boba and the Pike people. Maybe we should have Fennec be the one to take them out. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. We'll do that. So let's see. We got 1 day of filming left. All right. Well, let's just knock out this scene really quick. All of them are there. She kills them all. Boom. We're done. Good job, guys. Let's go home. That's what it felt like. Because, I mean, we already knew that all these guys were going to turn on him because they made such a big deal of them being like, yes, we agree to your terms. We will not betray you. So, of course, they're going to all betray him. But it just happens so suddenly in this episode, and then it gets wrapped up like that. They're all sitting there like, oh, what, you're leaving us? I can't believe Pike's going to leave us. We helped you, though. Why are you leaving us? I can't believe you're betraying us after we betrayed Boba Fett. Just what? And then Fennec kills them all. Okay, done. We're done with that. Why was that such a big story then? Why was that built up if it's just going to lead to quick, we're done? That show was a mess. This show was a right mess. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the same people that wrote The Mandalorian, the same people that wrote Rebels, The Bad Batch, I'm looking at all these shows, 2 of which are for kids, by the way. I'm looking at these shows thinking, this is the same company? Not just the same company, the same section of the company that wrote this show? And all I can really blame it on, again, is the idea that they wanted to have an in-between between Season 2 and Season 3 of The Mandalorian. And so this was their in-between. Because that's the only way I can explain all of this. Is that they wrote this whole series around having those 2 episodes for Mando and Grogu. Because those were the only 2 episodes that it felt like there was some thought and some effort put into it. So it felt like those were the 2 episodes where they cared. They actually thought about what they were writing. The rest of it was just bland. It was boring. It was time filler. Nothing really that important. Again, no surprise to me whatsoever that this is not getting a season 2. Because you didn't actually focus on Boba Fett for most of it. Fennec also didn't really focus on her. The new characters that you did introduce for Boba, this young rebel group, they were not fun. They were very cliche and cocky and full of themselves, and that's not fun to watch. The idea of him becoming the Daimyo, or is that what it's called? I think it's Daimyo. Him becoming the leader of this town for Mos Espa, that whole thing was just kind of there. It was something that was like, okay, so why does Pike care so much about this place again? Just because it's an easy place to go through? It's an easy place to trade spice with? I mean, they're such a big corporation, you would think they would be trading spice elsewhere and just be like, yeah, it's not even worth it. Who cares about this little backwater planet Tatooine that's already run down? But no, apparently it's such a big deal that they have to go to war over it. Okay. Yeah, I'm frustrated. Again, I went into this hoping to have my mind changed about Boba Fett, hoping to come out of this going, yeah, you know what? I can see why people think he's such a badass character and a fun character to get excited about. I don't feel that at all. I feel like this show, first of all, more focused on Mando, and also it felt like it was once again trying to hype up Boba Fett to something that he's not. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that the stuff that I haven't read, the stuff that has turned Boba Fett into such an icon of the franchise, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, those don't exist to me, so that means he is overhyped. But I will say, from somebody who hasn't read all of that stuff, what Star Wars, what the company that is producing Star Wars has shown me, I don't understand the hype. And I think that's a disservice to the character. When you have so many people that are rooting for him, that do think of him as such an awesome, badass character, you've got all these people that probably would have loved to see this show made. and you did not do him justice at all. You made him overhyped again, where essentially we focused most of the time on his backstory, how he got to be to the point where he is in The Mandalorian, and then you had 2 whole episodes devoted to just focusing on The Mandalorian. I mean, that's not what I want to see when I hear the show called The Book of Boba Fett. So, yeah, they really screwed this one up. I think I know why this wasn't really talked about that much, because yeah, I can't imagine many fans of Boba Fett were excited whenever they saw how much focus Mando was going to get in this, and also, again, how little it felt like Boba Fett was actually represented here. So, yep, I think that's about it. We're going to take a break from Star Wars again now that I've done 2 seasons in a row. So we're going to move on to something else. So I'm excited to hop back into this show that I'm about to do, but you'll see that next time. So from that point on, I guess it's time to say, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 2 episodes and on this season as a whole? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Star Wars reviews, and I'll see you guys at the next series that I'm going to be talking about. Peace out.